Hi y'all, in this video we are going to be discussing the last group of fall patterns from the Big Five, and those are from McCall Pattern Company. For some reason it seems that McCall's and Nomi's release of the fall patterns was a little late. Like typically around this time we would be looking for winter patterns, but regardless they are out now, so of course we are going to discuss them. But first, hi, I'm Tiffany of Tip Stitch, and welcome back to my YouTube channel where we discuss all things sewing and DIY.
Disclaimer, these patterns are on sale currently for $4.99 and they will be through October 21st. I'm going to try my best to get this video edited and uploaded before then so you can take advantage of this sale. But if you see this on October 22nd or later, or I don't get it posted until then, just know that they will go on sale again. If you follow my channel here, I always try to let you know when the simplicity.com and Joan sales are being held. Alternatively, you can sign up for Simplicity's email list and they will email you when they go on sale. So, just a quick disclaimer, let's get to the patterns. First up, we have Brandi Joan, which with what looks like to me like a retro or a period dress. Let's look at the details on the line drawing. You can see that there is like a shawl collar. You're going to have gathered shoulder seams on the front, as well as a puff short sleeve with a hemband and then loop button front closure. So no buttonholes here. You're going to make those little fabric loops. And it's going to hit a little bit below the knee, almost midi length. It's very light and flowy. It reminds me very much of like a dress I feel like I would see on I Love Lucy or on a woman who worked in like a 1950s, 60 diner, which is why it just sort of gives me that retro vibe personally. On Brandi, she uses this navy pattern fabric and then uses this cream or white for the accent of the shawl collar to really make that sort of stand out. And you can see here the flowy, the drapiness of the dress as she is turning. So there's no surprise that they recommend, oh, zoom back in. It's no surprise that they recommend a challis or a crepe, something lightweight that has a really nice drape for a dress like this so you can really take advantage of the flowiness of the style. And this is available from a 6 to a 14 and then a 16 to a 24. So if you are into this style of dress, I think that this is going to be a really great pattern. It has side seam pockets, and it has a nice circle skirt that's really going to give it that cute flow. These cuffed pants for Melissa Watson for Palmer Pletsch are quite cute in their simplicity. Let's look at the line drawing first. You can see that you have a tab front fly closure here. So you're going to have a hook and loop for the closure for the tab, and then you're going to have a traditional fly. You have a nice slightly flared leg with a nice deep cuff, slant pockets, and a waistband with belt loops. The great feature about this to me is that the back has an elasticized waist. So these will be really comfortable to wear, but still will look like all business in the front, giving you trousers that are going to be almost as comfy as PJs, but still keeping it looking professional if you're in an office setting. I really like the cuff here. I'm a sucker for a cuff anyway, so that might be part of the problem. I don't really know what they're doing with this green color here, but you can see here the elasticized waist in the back for comfort's sake. This is available in a size 8 to 16 and 18 to 26. They suggest cotton blends, linen, taffeta, so like lightweight fabrics. I think I would do this out of crepes and maybe a lightweight gabardine, other fabrics that seem more like ready to wear for work items for me personally, but you could use any light to midweight woven for these. They also tell you that this goes well with McCall's 8504, which was released, I guess, in the last season. It's a jacket pattern, so you could definitely put these two together for a casual look. McCalls calls 8528 a Mrs. Blazer dress, which I guess is accurate because it definitely has like the notch lapels of a blazer. Let's look at the line drawing starting with view A. View A has that notch lapel in a contrast fabric. It's sleeveless. It has the wrap detail that they all have with a like bar and snap closure, which is interesting. View A also has a pleated skirt. So this is definitely different to me. I don't think I've seen anything quite like this recently. I mean, they did do some kind of wrap pattern that had a pleated skirt option, but I don't feel like it was as blazery. I need to pull that back up. Either way, View A is sleeveless, so I'm guessing you would wear this over a long sleeve tee or a long sleeve bodysuit for the upcoming fall and winter. B is very similar in the fact that it's the same overall styling with the pleated skirt, but it does add sleeves. There's no contrast for the lapel, and it adds patch and flat pockets to the front of the dress. Of course, you can always mix and match all of these elements to make a custom look that you desire, the benefits of sewing. And then view C is going to be an interesting take with a color block on a left and a right side kind of thing. And it is going to have long sleeves, but no lapel, and it has more of a straight skirt, more like an A-line skirt. So this one was going to be simpler, definitely going to take less fabric. You don't have to do it color block, obviously. Again, you could take that off. You could also add the lapel to this dress if you just want the simpler silhouette. So many options here. So let's look at the actual information on the envelope. You can see that they show you all three patterns. On the model herself, she has on view B with the patch pockets, and it's in like a menswear kind of look because it's in this pinstripe fabric. I don't know how much I like that with the pleats, but it's fine. This is like a houndstooth plaid with a contrast black on view A here. And then this is the illustration of view C with the color blocking. Again, not sure I put those colors together, but of course you can do whatever you want. So I guess it's giving work vibes. It's giving going to the office. It's just an interesting take that I'm honestly not sure if I like or not at this point. But you can see here how there is a rectangle bar and somehow there is a snap closure here. So this one is going to be available in an 8 to 16 and then an 18 to 26. They are going to recommend medium weight woven. So cotton blends, gabardine, tweeds, wool blends. I could see doing like a stretch gabardine or something like that. So you do have a lot of options with this pattern. If this is a style that you're into, you could definitely do a lot of mixing and matching here, taking the pockets from one and the skirt from the other, and putting everything together however you like. This is a very classic sheath dress. Um, they have it here on the model in like a tweed kind of fabric in this pink, which I think is interesting. It also has a little bit of like sparkle to it to make it a little bit dressier. They have trim made out of the fabric, like ruffles made out of the fabric as the trim for the sleeves and the pocket details, which I guess adds a little bit of interest. You can see on this view, they have the raw edges along the sleeve and the patch pockets, as well as some trim detail at the neck. And also for this view, very similar. So this is just a very classic dress that, you might have a pattern like this already in your collection. If you don't, this would be a good one to get. They recommend it out of gabardine, tweeds, wool blends, and then you could do the contrast with satin. And then, of course, you're going to need to line this dress as well. Let's look at the, oh, and this is available in a 4 to a 12 and a 14 to a 22. I'm not really sure why this is appealing to a air quote smaller um size range because so many of the other patterns are going to a 26. I feel like they all need to at least go to a 26. So I don't understand what makes this different. It doesn't seem like a very difficult pattern to grade up or down, so they should do that for us. But anyway, if you look at the line drawing here, you can see the subtle differences between the dresses. They're all going to be the same basic sheathed silhouette with the darts in the front and the back. I am almost certain that view B and C also have these darts. They just don't show here. I have to imagine. But anyway, this one has again the ruffle trim at the sleeves and the pockets. This one is going to have some more trim at the neckline, the sleeve hem, the skirt hem, and then it's going to have the raw edge detail on the pockets and the sleeve, and more of a 3/4 length sleeve. And then view C is going to have a full length sleeve with the trim at the pockets and the neck. Obviously, you can decide to use the trim wherever you would like. So each one of these views are essentially the same. It's really just sleeve length and how you want to accentuate the pockets, if you want the pockets at all, and if you want the chest pocket as well. If you do not have this style of dress in a pattern in your collection, you probably want to grab this one or one like it. But if you've been sewing for a while, you probably have a pattern similar to this already. I'll be honest in saying I don't really understand 8530. This is like a satin top that looks a little bit more like I should be going to sleep in it, because they're doing it on a bias cut and they're doing it out of a satin or a silky fabric here on the envelope. But if we look at the line drawings, it's actually a really simple silhouette here. You're going to have some gathers here at the bust, a deep V is fitted, so you're going to have a side zip. And then view C has the option of these drawstring sleeves, which I'm sorry, I just think are ugly, but no offense if you like them. View A has this lace detail along the neckline and right here at like the waist seam, if you want to call it that. And then view B is much simpler, lacks all the trim, has more of a cap sleeve here. So if I was going to pick any view for myself personally, it would probably be B. And then view C has everything of view A plus the sleeves with some trim at the sleeves, lace trim at the sleeves, and the drawstring and lace at the hem. To me, that one's just a lot. And that may be what is turning me off against this pattern, because if you look at the front envelope, that's the one that they have on the model. And it's just one of those things that I don't really get. It's just not for me and my taste. I'm sure that somebody out there is going to love it, and I think that that's great. It's just not for me. We can see the illustrations of the other views. Again, if I was going to pick one, it would probably be B. It's a little bit simpler. I'm just not quite a girly girl like that. I'm not going to have a lot of lace in my wardrobe. I do find it interesting that they have a side hem zip in this to make sure that you can get in it, which is why something I've never done on the top. So that's interesting. This is available in an 8 to a 16 and then an 18 to a 26. Of course, A and B aren't going to take a lot of fabric. View C really doesn't either. And they're recommending a challis, a charmeuse, a crepe, or georgette. This to me also looks like it could be a satin. Just any lightweight drapey fabric. You're probably going to want to avoid directional prints because this is going to be cut on the bias. So take note of that. And then you will need trim, lace trim for those details if you're going to go with A or C. These are so 90s. Like, it's definitely bringing back the 90s and maybe the early 2000s. These are low rise, although not quite as low as we were wearing them. Flare jeans. They say right here they are Y2K inspired. Um, so yeah, this is definitely like bringing those early 2000s back. So all the views are essentially the same. So looking at view A, you have a very fitted through the hip and leg, or hip and thigh. You have these interesting details of button belt loops, which are different. You're going to have a button a zip fly with a button at the waistband, right? This is going to be a contoured waistband, I hope, because they do sit low. You're going to have patch pockets on the back, and you're going to have a pretty big flare, not an extreme flare, but a big enough flare. And you can do view B, which is going to add front pockets, which are going to be patched, as well as side cargo pockets. Or you can do view C, which do more of these like saddle-like pockets, and then the patch pockets on the back as well. So whatever you want to do as far as pockets, you can even add these cargo pockets to view C, because I can see that working well as well. All in all, they're just low-rise flare pants that are reminiscent of the early 2000s. So if we look at them on the model, you can see that they do fall well beneath her belly button, which is a no-go for me at this point in my 40s. But super cute on her. I could see my daughter maybe liking this. So I can see where they're going, because that whole 90s 2000 thing is coming back into style. Here they have an illustration with denim And then here it is like in an army green. So I'm not saying that I'm not a fan of this pattern. I'm just saying that although I believe you can wear what you want to wear at any age, these are no longer for me. But younger me would love these though. So I see where they were going. And I do think that this button detail on the belt loops is interesting. Not necessary. I would probably skip it. That doesn't seem very comfortable, but it's different and I can't be mad at them for that. This is available in a size 8 to 16, and then 18 to 26. All three pants are basically the same, and they are saying use a chino, a corduroy, a denim, or a twill. I would like a stretch version of either of those because, I want to be able to move. So a stretch chino, a stretch corduroy, a stretch denim, or some kind of stretch twill or gabardine would work better for me. But you can do either or. The size range on this is pretty good, and I do think that this is what's coming back, the 90s 2000 style. So I can actually see this working for a lot of people. I think I like 8532, and I say I think because I'm not a huge fan of View B on the model. Even though I love green, I love a jacket, the snaps are gold or brass, what really pops. There's really nothing wrong with it, but there's something about View A illustration that I really like. So View B on the model, you can see has all the pockets and the details and the drawstring hem. But when I look at this illustration here, it might be because it's in denim and I'm just a sucker for denim. I really like this view. Now we know how I feel about a vest. But if I was going to do a vest, this would be more like the kind of vest I would do. It makes more utility vests make more sense to me than just vest for the sake of vest. Like fisherman vest or like vests that have a whole lot of pockets because I'm going to be doing something outside like hiking or something makes more sense to me. Now, I'm not going to be doing any of those things. Let's not get that twisted. But the practicality of wanting a vest to have all the pockets but no sleeves because I'm hiking or fishing or doing something that requires a lot of movement, I'm probably hot anyway, makes sense. Vests for everyday wear make no sense to me because how is my body cold but my arms aren't? Anyway, we've talked about this before. So I think that I'm not, for some reason, a huge fan of this view, and maybe it's the length. I don't know if it's the length or all the extra pockets, but on that note, let's go ahead and look at the line drawing so we can see the differences in all the views. View A is the view that I think I like the most, which is more of a cropped length, hits at the natural waist. It has a front and back yoke, this back vent for comfort in the back center seam, and then it has a two-piece sleeve. All of this is sort of detailed with some top stitching, edge stitching to make all these seams pop. And then you have a hood with 4 snaps, which is a little excessive, but looks nice, I guess. And then it has a zippered front. So that's view A. View B has everything view A has, plus it's a longer length with the drawstring hem. So this is going to be more of like a hip length. It adds 4 pockets, these 2 flat pockets on top, and then 2 flap and zippered pockets on the bottom. And it is going to add this placket for the snaps, which conceals the zip up. Now that I like that makes sense because I like a windbreaker jacket that has the zipper and the snap, so I'm into that part. I think it's the length, and I don't really know why. And then this one is going to have long sleeves like View A as well, whereas View C, of course, is the vest, so no sleeves. It doesn't look like it has the drawstring at the hem, but it's going to be the same hem length, so like high hip. And you're still going to have the concealed snap closure for the zipper, and then you're only going to have the bottom 2 zipped, flapped patch pockets. You won't have the top 2, which I'm thinking maybe the extra pockets with the flaps is what's throwing me about view B, because again, for once, I actually like the vest view better than this view. So I don't know. I don't know how to explain to you why I don't like all the views of this pattern when they're not that different. But let's go ahead and look at the details here on the back of the envelope. You're going to have extra small to extra, extra large in one envelope, so that's great. And they are going to recommend cotton blends, denim, nylon, or twill. I definitely think of nylon as being more utilitarian, right? Because that's what I think of when I think of these kind of jackets. But a twill would definitely work. I could see a denim because view B, the sketch, I mean, view A, the sketch is denim, which I think is what makes me like it. And any kind of cotton blend, basically any medium weight kind of woven would work for this. Um, so yeah, I'm not sure that I'm grabbing this pattern, but I do like the illustration of view A. This may be one that I have to see somebody else make it, and then I can decide how I feel about it. We'll see. Here's another pattern that I'm having mixed feelings on, 8533. If you follow me, you know I love black and white and I love stripes. So I really should like this view on the model. I think what's killing me here is the movie Beetlejuice is coming out. And they're really highly publicizing and pushing this movie. And this jacket is giving me Beetlejuice vibes. It just is. I don't know that that's a bad thing per se, because that's never stopped me from wearing wide black and white stripes before. But it's just giving is that's what it's giving me. I think I've just seen too many Beetlejuice commercials. That being said, it's interesting. You're going to have this paneled sort of pieced look for this jacket. I want to call it patchwork, but like they're strips, so maybe not. This is more of like a blazer to me than a jacket. You do have some options, which we'll look at in the line drawings in a second, but you can also do it without the contrast coloring and just use like top stitching to be a really interesting detail. I could see that. I could also see it all being in one color minus the top stitching. This is the more hip length view, so the not cropped view. It's just really interesting. If you look at the line drawings, you can see the difference. View A and B are going to be cropped. The only difference here is view A has the top stitching for the detail, which I think would look really good in a denim or anything that you want to just have that contrast in. And then view B is using the contrasting fabric. So it doesn't have to be a dark and a light. I could even see you doing view B in a denim, and you could do it in a lighter wash and a medium wash, or you could do it in a red and a pink. You know, you could play with this in a lot of different ways. A lot of color combos would work for this. If you really wanted to get creative, you could actually add a third color um, as well. You're not going to have like the fabric measurements for that, but you definitely could. I could see that working. Or you could do a straight rainbow. Like each thing could be like there would be a lot you could do here. And then view C is going to be hip length. But other than that, they're all basically the same. It's just the length and what you want to do with the coloring of your fabric here. It does have this really large, oversized collar that's quite wide. They call for shoulder pads. They actually call the shorter version a bolero. I still sort of think it counts as a jacket. But anyway, if we look at the details for the pattern itself, oh wait, hold on, let's finish looking at the images we didn't finish. So, I mean, this is a very simple, classic, I guess, kind of look, because anything black and white just gives me sort of chic Parisian. So you have the black and white with the high-waisted black pants. Um, Here's the detailing of the back and the crop length, but then here's where I wanted to get to. You're going to have a size 8 through 16 and 18 through 26. They're going to give you the pattern, I mean, the fabric requirements for views A and B that break down the contrasting. Now, they don't do that for C. I guess they assume you don't want to contrast the larger version, so you're going to have to guess if you want to do that one with that, what kind of fabric you need. I mean, half and half would be a fair guess here. Um, if it calls for 2.5 yards, I would probably buy 1.5 of each color if you were trying to do jacket C. Anyway, you can see here that they say cotton blends, denim, velveteen, I think was a really interesting fabric to throw in here. And wool blends. Basically, any medium weight woven fabric would work for this. Twills, um, suiting, like just anything you would make a jacket out of, as it were, would work for this. I don't really know about not having a closure for this either. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't need to stay closed. I might would want to add a snap here somewhere just in case. But regardless, this is a different take on a jacket, and I can't be mad at them for it. I have to get past the thought of Beetlejuice with the black and white here. So let me know if y'all had that thought too. Now this is a fun look for McCall's 8534. This is a like dressy knit jumpsuit here, and this is definitely giving me like disco vibes. As a matter of fact, view A with the crossover here, let's look at the line drawings. View A with the crossover is actually making me think of that iconic look that Selena wore in like the burgundy magenta sort of color. Now that one does have like a cutout in the midriff area, but this is like a more modest version of that. Like that's immediately where my brain went to. So if we look at view A, it has this keyhole cross front opening that creates a halter neck in the back. You're going to have very fitted bodice on all of these views, and then they go out to a really extreme flare right at the knee. If we look at views B and C, they have the same close fitting bodice, but you almost have a squared off neck. There's a little bit of a curve to it, so it's not really a square, but you do have a nice neckline here, and then you have the cross in the back with the open back detail. Again, very fitted pants through the hips and the thighs, and then extreme flare from the knees down. If we look at the pattern envelope, you can see that the version that they have on the model is done in like a either a gold foil knit or a sequence knit that makes it look very disco, very retro, very glam. I could also see this for like a holiday party or something like that for a woman who doesn't really care to wear a dress to evening functions. And you can see in the illustration here, the other two views, it would definitely look great in a black, whether it was like a black matte jersey or a black velvet maybe. Something like that would be really great. And then the only version, the difference between B and C is that they have a contrast bodice on one and not on the other. But essentially, it's going to be the same pattern. Here you just have two different sparkly pinks in the illustration. And here you can see that nice open back of views B and C on the model here, which is cute. It gives you a little bit, but not too much. And as close fitting as this is, you can probably get away with not wearing a bra, so you don't have to worry about the strap there. If we look at the back of the pattern envelope, you can see this is available from a 6 to a 14 and then a 16 to a 24. And even though this is made with a stretch knit, you will want to have an invisible zipper for the center back seam to be able to get into this. They recommend interlocks, which I hate, jerseys, which I think would be too thin, novelty knits, sequence knits, as you can see on the pattern envelope. But I think this would also work really well for stretch velvets, as I said before. Um, Anything with enough stretch per the stretch gauge would work for this, but I would probably lean a little bit more to heavier fabrics than like jerseys or ITY, but that's just me. But yeah, I think this is a really cute pattern. If you need a dressy jumpsuit, this would be really fun. I think if you were going to a theme party, like this would have been great for New York Frocktails last year when the theme was Studio 54. But I also think this is very appropriate to wear to a function today as, you know, your wardrobe, not a costume piece. So I do think this is cute. Don't know that I need it, but it is super cute. McCall's 8535 is a nightgown pattern, but Brittany J Jones has already sewn view B here as a dress to wear out. So I'll link to that as well. I think it's super cute. Maybe I'll insert a picture here so you can see it. Super cute. I really like it. Okay. Um, Here you can see view A and view B are nightgowns. View B is very short. It has the lace trim at the hem and along the bust line, as well as, I don't know if these are adjustable straps or not. We'll look at that in a second. So this one's going to be very short, like right beneath your booty, basically. And then view B is going to be very similar, but there is a lace inset at the top, as well as the lace trim where the hem of the other dress is, but then there's more of a trumpeted type piece on the bottom that's added. And then you are going to have a robe that's a very gathered skirt, wide bell-like sleeves that are going to have lace trim on the sleeve, and then you can make a fabric belt, of course, as a tie for your robe. But let's take a picture. You can't really see a lot here on the pattern cover because they're just really showing you the robe. Um, here, but which I mean, I sort of understand, but I don't understand. Here, they've done it in black, and they made the tie out of a more silkier fabric, whereas the robe itself is out of more of a matte fabric. So you could do this however you want. This, of course, is view A. The longer length is view B. This is just showing you the robe again. Oh, okay, so they do show the dress. So you can see here that view A would stop where the lace trim would. You wouldn't have that trumpeted piece at the bottom. It would just be, to here. If my cursor shows up, it would just show to here. All of this would be gone. So that to me would be very much more like nighty go to bed. But the longer view that we only see from the back, okay, is that the model has on, in the right fabrics, you could wear it out. And I think it would be really cute. So here we have sizes 10 through 18 and then 20 through 28 women's. So more size inclusivity here, which is a great thing. They are going to recommend challis, charmeuse, crepe, georgette. I would say satin or silk as well. And of course, you need lace for the trim. And so this could definitely just be if you want to be very elevated in your sleeping attire, which I'm actually really a fan of. I feel like I want to start making myself fancy pajamas just to feel good as I'm around my house. But then there's another part of me that just like lounging and still DIY pajama sets. But I think there's a time and place for both. That being said, I do think that this is a pattern that I may grab. It's just not, I don't, we'll see. I am always happy when they give the men patterns, but 8536 just isn't for me. Now, again, that don't mean nothing. This is probably for a lot of people, and I do know that the really wide baggy leg is coming back in, just like the barrel leg is coming back. I don't like either one of them, but that's just a personal preference. If you want a big, wide denim or just pant period, this could definitely be it for you. Looking at the line drawings, we can see that there is a shorts option, which I really don't understand, but whatever. That has very large patch pockets. You're going to have fly zip with waistband, buttonhole, belt loops, and this interesting cargo pocket on the side here for extra detail. Views B and C are the full length pants that are again going to be just like really wide and exaggerated. They have different version of the front patch pockets. View B has the cargo pocket as well as this detailed two-piece pant leg, whereas view C is just going to be a straight one piece. It does have this interesting curvature on the back yoke of the pant as well. So let's look at it on the model here. Just really big, wide leg pants. You can see the detail of the pocket here. It's a look. That's all I got. It's a look. I do like the back detail here. I have to admit that. I do like this curvature and like some of like that in the back. But other than that, these really aren't for me. They are available in a 34 to 42 and then a 44 to 52. And they're going to give you all the information here. Of course, you can do this in a denim, a twill, any cotton blend, really any medium weight woven would work for this. And I guess, as always, yay for the men having a new pattern. I have skipped 8537 and 8538 because they are kids patterns, although the girl's cape is really cute, but I don't discuss kids patterns here. So we are on 8539, which is a Laura Ashley dress that is like a vintage 80s dress. Now, just a forewarning, I don't love the 80s. I'm an 80s baby. Those were great times, but the fashion from the 80s probably needs to stay there, in my opinion. But that's only my opinion, so we're going to talk about these patterns. This one is a dress pattern. If we look at the line drawings, you can see here that there is a short sleeve version in view A and a sleeveless version in view B. Both of them have a shawl collar with a tie in the front, sort of like a little sailor's knot in the front. You're going to have a princess seam bodice, so it's going to be fitted in the bodice. And then you're going to have a gathered and paneled skirt, so a really wide skirt here. What I will say is for once, they gave us the pattern on an actual person for a vintage pattern. So you can see what it would look like here. And this is view B with no sleeves and the contrast shawl collar. You can see here that you can do it all in the same with the short sleeves. This with the flower or the bouquet in the hand makes me think that this is supposed to be like a bridesmaid look. And I can confirm that I saw this in some of my cousin's weddings. Anyway, this is not for me, but it may be for you. So if it is, this is available in a 6 to a 14 and a 16 to a 24. So, I mean, they've definitely added sizes here, but I'm not sure why this doesn't go all the way to the 26 like some of the other patterns. Anyway, here you have this information. Now, this dress is going to be a bit of a fabric haul because a hog. Now, this dress is going to be a little bit of a fabric hog because you have the gathered and paneled pieces for the skirt. So that's just going to eat up a lot of fabric. So both views start at about 4.5 to 5 yards of fabric, depending on which view you choose, of course. And if you use a cotton that's only 45 inches, you're looking at almost 7 yards of fabric to make either dress, especially in the larger sizes. So this is going to take quite a bit of fabric, but you know, sometimes it just is what it is. So that's this 1980s pattern from Laura Ashley. 8540 is another Laura Ashley throwback to the 80s pattern as well. And I don't like this one anymore. Actually, I might like this one less, but it's giving you that very Sailor Moon like look, right? With this very squared off collar piece that comes on the front. You're going to have a puff sleeve that has pleats, short sleeve. You're going to have that tie front, and then the skirt sort of Wonder Woman-y with that V-point waistband. And then you're going to have again gathers and paneled skirts. This is going to have a lap zip back with a button closure on the waistband, and it does have side seam pockets, so that is always a plus. Uh, they actually call it a tucked sailor collar, dicky, and necktie. Okay, those are the actual words for that. So that's the look here. Again, I am happy that they gave us this pattern on a model so you could see what it would look like on a real body, because sometimes with the vintage you only get those illustrations. So here they did do like the bib part in a solid white where the shirt itself was in a polka dot, sort of looks like a Swiss dot kind of pattern. So you can do that contrast there. And then here's the original illustration from the 80s. You can see these tiny gathers as well as the panels of the skirt do make the skirt very full. You have a lap zipper with the single button at the back. And this pattern is available in a 6 to 14 and then 16 to 24. Again, actually the skirt only takes 3.5 yards. That's not as bad as I thought. But they're telling you that you can do the top in challis, cotton blends, lightweight wool, crepe, seersucker, silk, broadcloth, so just lightweight wovens. And then the same for the skirt, really, but I would think you could also do like a medium weight woven for the skirt. So if the 80s is your time period and you were a fan of Laura Ashley back in the 80s, I could see you really loving this pattern as well as 8539. 8541 is the last vintage 80s pattern in this release, and thank goodness. But anyway, this is going to be a fitted jacket. It has very puffy, not puffy, gathered cap sleeves. You're gonna have some trim options. It's I don't know. This looks very costumey to me for some reason, but maybe that's just me. So views A and B have like the pleated hem, sort of like godets at the hem. They're going to have the puff cap sleeve that are very fitted throughout the arm. You're going to have princess seams in the bodice. And view A has this sort of like stand-up collar band with the button front. And then view B doesn't have the collar band, but you still have the button front. You have a little bit more details at the hem of the sleeves and such. And then views C and D add like a peplum with sort of like a V at the waistband, and I forget what these are called, but like the loop-de-loop things for the buttons for the closures, as well as having either just like a really simple sort of collar or having a notch lapel on view D. And both of these remind me of like the jackets that people wear in the Nutcracker. You know, have you seen? Like it gives me very Christmas Nutcracker. Like all you need is some black tights, make the jacket in red, and you could be up there in the play doing the dance of the sugar plum fairies or whatever they do. Anyway, it almost looks more Victorian to me than 80s, especially with this pussy blouse, I guess. But yeah, I mean, if this is your thing, this is going to be your thing. And they do give you 4 views, which I always like. More views, the better, the more bang for your buck. And this is available in just a 6 to a 16. Now, why? Why bring a pattern back and only offer it from a 6 to a 16? Now, I know that's contrary when I said I don't like the pattern and I wouldn't want it, so it doesn't matter that they don't make it in my size. But what if I did? They don't know that. Why bring a pattern back but not grade it out to be more size inclusive for today's time? I will never understand that simplicity. I swear. Anyway, they suggest cotton blends, flannel, corduroy, velveteen. See, that would give you that nutcracker look. Wool, so forth and so forth. It says not suitable for diagonals, checks, stripes, and plaids. So something is cut on the bias. So they don't want to look all crazy. And you will need optional trims and stuff for the different looks. And this is lined, so you will need lining fabric as well. Like I said, if you're into the 80s, you might like this. I also do appreciate the fact that they gave us like 4 details, 4 views, and they are all a little bit different from the other one. It's not just like really small changes, so I guess that's a plus. But I'm gonna have to take another point off for not being size inclusive. I really don't understand the logic in that. Lastly, in our vintage patterns, we go back to the 70s. Thank God we out of the 80s. Um, and I don't know that I'm a big fan of this either, but I like it better than the patterns from the 80s. So let's take a look at the line drawings because unfortunately, they did not put this on a real person. Why? Why do all the other ones? But anyway. So view A is sort of like a shacket to me. You're going to have a gathered sleeve and a single button sort of cuff, patch pockets, front yoke, back yoke, gathers there, and a collar without, it looks like no stand, so just like a collar. Um, I don't like view A at all, really. I don't really get that. For the jacket. For the skirts, you have A, B, and C. They are all paneled skirts. Looks like 8 in total. You're going to have a lapped zipper back, and it's just a really simple skirt. It's a nice silhouette. I could see wearing the skirt, I guess. I just think there's probably another pattern out there that has this. Now, what I will say I would want, but probably wouldn't buy, would be View D, the pants. I like the idea of the thinner leg seam and the flare at the same time. But I think we've sort of seen this in some other patterns. McCall's 8007 gives us this a little bit, and then McCall 9689 gives us this, but you would have to like sort of add in the flare yourself, which I don't know. I don't think would be that hard, but maybe. Either way, I could see the pant. It's giving very 70s bell bottom, which I do like 70s fashion. I love bell bottoms, so I could definitely see this working, and it does have the lapped zipper in the back, so it's less of a jean and more of a real pant. Um, I probably would prefer a contour waistband, which doesn't look like this has, but I could see this. I just don't know if I'm willing to buy the pattern just for the pants. So, but we'll look at the illustrations. These are the original 1970s illustrations. Like I said, I love the hugeness and the volume of the pants. You can't really see the seaming detail here so much, but sure. And then this is giving you an idea of the lengths of the skirt. So like view A would be right above the knee. View B looks like it's right below the knee. And then view C jumps all the way down to the floor. So I could see this skirt in a lot of different fabrics depending on what you wanted it to be. It could be a more formal skirt with a blouse. Um, if you're more into two pieces and not dresses, I could definitely see that. Or you could do it in more casual fabrics and it could be more everyday wear. It could go either way. This is another one that goes from a 6 to a 16, so it really doesn't matter. If I want to make those pants, I can't fit into a 16 pattern. I have 48-inch hips. So again, I'm not really sure why they do this. I'm gonna just keep repeating myself on this because it really confuses me. But regardless, they suggest using a challis, cotton blends, cotton broadcloth, corduroy. I don't know why they specified synthetic gabardine, wool, velveteen, wool jersey, wool blends. Basically, any medium weight fabric can work for any of this. Suede, corduroy, stretch corduroy, gabardine, basically anything could work for this pattern as long as you wear between a size 6 and a 16, because otherwise they ain't got nothing for you. But again, I like the pants. If you're like me and can't fit into a pattern size 16, then check out McCall's 8007 and McCall's 9689 because I think that you could alter those to get this look. So that is everything for the falls pattern from McCall's. Now, I did skip the two kids, the craft, and the costume patterns because I just don't cover those on my channel. If you're interested in those, certainly go to simplicity.com and check them out. But let me know your thoughts on the patterns in this collection. If there are any that you plan on grabbing, if you're not excited, if you love the drop, I love to chat it up in the comments. So let me know what you're thinking. Out of this release, I can only see myself buying maybe one or two patterns. So if I do grab some, I will definitely do a pattern haul video at some point. But let me know which ones you are planning to grab. And until next time, happy sewing.
Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching and happy sewing.